The Illusion of Hard Work. Xiefeng. February 24, 2025. Whenever parents, elders, teachers, or others encourage someone, they always say, work hard. After suffering a huge loss from following Napoleon Hill's success philosophy and subsequently labeling success studies as a scam, I suddenly realized today that hard work is not just a deception, it is the very root of enslavement. I believe that Chinese culture is a divine heritage, as evidenced by the structure and meaning of each character. Take the character, marriage, for example. It is composed of woman and dazed, implying that a woman enters marriage in a daze. Similarly, good is formed from woman and man, symbolizing the harmonious union of a woman and a man. This raises an interesting question: what significance arises when we consider marriage and good together? If marriage suggests that a woman marries in a daze, does the union of a woman and a man in marriage truly yield good? This implies that the true meaning of good lies in the union of a woman and a man, but it does not mean that only a marriage between them results in what is deemed good. Now, let's look at hard work. The character, hard work, consists of slave on top and strength on the bottom, literally a slave's strength. Hard work is simply the toil of a slave. If hard work is the labor of a slave, then the harder one works, the deeper one sinks into slavery. Does this mean that hard work is inherently wrong? Should people stop forcing themselves to work hard? Hard work means exerting one's full strength to complete a task. Over time, it has come to signify the enthusiastic investment of one's time, energy, and intellect into a task or endeavor in pursuit of a goal or ideal. The character, hard work, subtly warns the intelligent not to exert effort. It is meant for the foolish. Let's examine two scenarios. A young person goes to an internet cafe and becomes addicted to a game, playing for over 10 hours straight without eating, drinking, or sleeping. Would you call this hard work? A mountaineer climbs peaks like Everest, enduring extreme hardship and life-threatening risks, yet they do it with great enthusiasm. Is this really hard work, or is it simply following one's passion? The answer is no, at least not in its true sense. These actions are driven by passion and intrinsic motivation. So, what is hard work? Hard work is when external forces compel a person to suppress their innate nature and toil like a slave, studying, working, networking, or engaging in certain activities to achieve a goal or fulfill a wish, even if they are unwilling and have no choice but to invest their time, energy, and intellect into the pursuit. By nature, no one wants to be forced into hard work. Hard work is the mark of slaves. Slave masters never work hard. I manage a vacation resort and write almost daily. Would you say I am working hard? If anyone believes that I am, they are mistaken. This is not hard work, this is passion. I do it willingly. I find it enjoyable, interesting, and fun. Hard work is largely ineffective. If a rooster spends its life trying to fly, will it ever outsoar an eagle? If a sheep trains rigorously, will it be able to fight off a wolf? If Jack Ma had devoted himself to basketball from a young age, could he have become an NBA star? Without the right talent, hard work is meaningless. The harder one works, the worse the outcome. Everyone should engage in what they love. When a person follows their passion, they will naturally become fully dedicated, willing to sacrifice everything, and give their all, without needing external pressure. Goodbye, hard work. Your reign of slavery is over. Wealth, honor, beauty, and the Leslie Cheung phenomenon. Xiefeng. February 20, 2025. At the age of 46, Leslie Cheung leapt from the 24th floor of a hotel, ending his life. During his lifetime, he accumulated a fortune of 300 million Hong Kong dollars. He was a megastar in the music industry and a celebrated film actor, winning countless awards. He was surrounded by numerous beautiful and talented women. One could say that Mr. Cheung embodied beauty, wealth, honor, and romance all in one. So why did he choose to end his life at the peak of his prime? Whether due to depression or other unknown factors, the Leslie Chung phenomenon clearly demonstrates that wealth, honor, and beauty do not guarantee a life of happiness, joy, freedom, and fulfillment. Today, the internet is flooded with voices advocating the pursuit of financial freedom, as if achieving it would automatically lead to happiness, joy, freedom, and a perfect, fulfilling life. But the Leslie Chung phenomenon tells us otherwise. Financial freedom does not ensure a complete and fulfilling life. From a traditional perspective, the 5 major pursuits in life are wealth, power, status, honor, and beauty. However, both history and reality have shown that these 5 elements cannot guarantee a wonderful and fulfilling life, much less secure a place in heaven after death. This leads us to reflect: what should we pursue in life? How should we live our lives? These are not questions that can be answered in a few words. I have spent over 20 years exploring them, writing thousands of articles on the subject. I have also dedicated 17 years to putting these ideas into practice. Today, I can confidently say, only by embracing the values of Life Genuine and living the second home life of Xiaofeng-style communism can one fulfill the long-cherished dream of a truly happy, joyful, free, and fulfilling life, one that also holds the hope of reaching heaven. The more rules, the harder it is to innovate. Xiaofeng. February 21, 2025. Under Elon Musk's leadership, the U.S. Government Efficiency Department has shaken up the once rigid and formidable federal government agencies. Bureaucrats, particularly those with tainted records in positions of power, are seething with resentment and have launched a fierce counterattack against Musk's team. Yet, the Government Efficiency Department continues to operate steadily, seemingly impervious to these retaliations. Who is right and who is wrong? Who will emerge victorious? These are not our concerns. Instead, let's focus on the core team of the Government Efficiency Department. Surprisingly, it consists of 6 young men, the youngest only 19, the oldest 25, with an average age of just 22.3 years. Under Musk's leadership, these inexperienced young men have thrown most U.S. federal agencies into chaos, capturing global attention and striking fear into bureaucratic and corrupt government institutions worldwide. What if, one day, a few audacious young individuals, leveraging AI from thousands of miles away, launched a surgical strike against bureaucratic corruption? How would those in power possibly defend themselves? Now we arrive at the key point of our discussion. The Government Efficiency Department achieved such an unprecedented feat precisely because its members were so young and unbound by rules. Those well-versed in laws and regulations, no matter how courageous, would never dare to confront the interests of those in power and financial elites with such fearless and indiscriminate boldness. Here's an intriguing revelation: the less one understands the rules, the more easily they can innovate. Conversely, the more one understands the rules, the more likely they are to adhere to convention. By extending this insight, we can uncover even deeper truths. If you want to innovate and break through barriers, the words of the elderly should not always be followed, for they are often bound by too many rules. The words of leaders should not be blindly followed, for they are often constrained by too many rules. The words of legal experts should not be followed blindly, for they are experts in too many regulations. The words of religious leaders should be questioned, for they are steeped in too many doctrines. The words of historians should not be relied on too much, for they are burdened by too many cautionary tales. The advice of worldly relatives should not be given too much weight, for it may discourage you from taking risks and forging new paths. The words of eloquent speakers and writers should be taken with skepticism, for they are often filled with empty rhetoric. The words of the sick and the failed should not be heeded too closely, for failure begets failure. A duck's egg will never hatch into a phoenix. From the perspective of the holographic order, Hundun, principle, all rules and laws are only applicable to their specific time and space. If everything is executed strictly according to existing rules and laws, there will never be new horizons or breakthroughs. Laws have no fixed form, nor do structures. Different times and spaces require different rules and laws. When it comes to human life, there are 64 ways to live, and when these 64 ways intersect, they do not merely result in 84,000 paths, they expand into 840 million possibilities to the nth power. The ways of our ancestors are but a mere drop in the ocean of infinite possibilities. If you are living happily, joyfully, freely, and blissfully, then cherish and uphold the current rules and laws. If you are living in distress, suffering, pain, and sorrow, damn it, try a different way of living. Open the windows, and the sunlight and breeze will stream in. Cast your gaze around, and you will see the distant mountains fresh and green. Stay and study in life a genuine, and a new life will begin. Here, spirituality transcends the ordinary. When spirituality transcends the ordinary, you are free to roam heaven and earth. Follow the great way, walk the right path, and align with nature. Xie Feng. February 13, 2025. The great way is the way of the greatest creator, and the way of the greatest creator is the way of nature, the law and order of the universe. It is the most direct path to fulfilling the most beautiful aspirations, simple, straightforward, smooth, and bright. Any deviation from the way of nature is to go against it. While such detours may appear to be shortcuts, opportunities to exploit, or effortless ways to gain immense benefits, the reality is quite the opposite. Those who go against the way will inevitably fall into an inescapable net and pay a heavy price. Look at those government officials serving prison sentences. Did they not take shortcuts and go against the way, only to fall into ruin? Look at the many entrepreneurs whose businesses have failed. Did they not collapse because they ignored market principles and resorted to deceitful, unrighteous means? Look at those who have been deceived and trapped by criminal syndicates in places like Myanmar. Did they not fall victim to their own wishful thinking, hoping to take shortcuts instead of following the way of nature? Look at those eager to become celestial beings or attain Buddhahood, or those desperate to get rich overnight. Have their final outcomes not all been disappointing, leaving them with lifelong regret? If we observe the world, we will see that all suffering, misfortune, pain, and setbacks arise from people failing to follow the way of nature, harboring wishful thinking, and seeking shortcuts. I have said before, one who does not plan for their whole life is unfit to plan for a single task, one who does not aspire to heaven is unfit to plan for their life. Consider those who do not yearn for heaven or strive toward it, whether they live in wealth or poverty, their entire existence is but a fleeting dream on a snail's horn, vanishing in an instant like dust in the wind. No matter how meticulously they plan their lives, no matter how hard they study, strategize, or struggle, if their hearts lack heaven, then all their efforts are ultimately just. All conditioned phenomena are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, and shadows. Like dew and lightning, thus should they be perceived. We must remain humble, honest, and reverent. We must have the courage to face reality and truth without harboring wishful thinking. The universe operates under laws and principles, and any attempt to rely on luck or trickery will ultimately be shattered by them. The most precious things in the world are also the purest. The purer something is, the greater its value. Even the slightest impurity significantly diminishes its worth. From this, we should understand that the purer a person's heart, the more noble and valuable they are. Naturally, heaven belongs to those with pure and noble hearts. We should also recognize that the simplest path is the one closest to heaven and that what is easiest to obtain is often the most precious. Therefore, do not complicate life. Do not overthink things. Do not exhaust yourself seeking shortcuts. Pure water is always more valuable than Maotai, Wuliangye, or red wine, so just drink water, without craving other beverages. Doesn't life become much simpler and more carefree that way? Don't engage in illegal or criminal acts. Don't steal or deceive. Don't indulge in superstitions or strange practices. Don't seek gains without effort. Always be truthful and honest in both words and actions. Open your heart and speak with clarity. Be an honest person, speak honest words, and do honest deeds. Avoid falsehood and deception, and seek only a heart at peace, a state where you remain unshaken even if someone knocks on your door in the middle of the night. Remember the teachings of Christ Jesus, seek only the kingdom of the greatest Creator, for He knows what you need. Do not worry about tomorrow, just strive to be a person of pure and upright heart today. With sincerity and devotion, set your sights on the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the Elysium Islands continent. Do not concern yourself with how the script of your journey unfolds. Entrust your life to the greatest Creator, leave the challenges along the way to be managed by the way, Tao, itself, and maintain joy. With an optimistic, romantic, and carefree attitude, march toward your ideal destination. F. The Revelation of F Coins. Xiefeng. February 16, 2025. The highest state of life is unity with the Tao. The Tao is me, and I am the Tao and I are one, without distinction. The finest quality of life is honesty, being true and free of falsehood, completely genuine, with heart, spirit, intention, and form in perfect harmony. The ultimate pursuit of self-cultivation is to attain the Tao. To attain the Tao means to attain everything, it means attaining the universe and eternal life. Where there is no Tao, there is scholarship. Where there is no Tao, morality is emphasized. Where there is no morality, benevolence is emphasized. Where there is no benevolence, righteousness is emphasized. Where there is no righteousness, propriety is emphasized. Where there is no propriety, wisdom is emphasized. Where there is no wisdom, only skills and techniques remain. F-coins are a gateway for individuals to align with the Tao. They are the touchstone that reveals whether a person is genuine or deceitful, the microscope that allows one to examine their own character, and the benchmark that tests whether one's self-cultivation is authentic or superficial. Whether a person is a Buddha or a demon can be determined by the authenticity of their F-coins. If their F-coins are genuine, they are a Buddha; if they are false, they are a demon. The distance a person has from heaven can be measured by their F-coins. The more F-coins one has, the closer they are to heaven; the fewer, the farther away they are. First and foremost, each individual is their own mint for F-coins. Apart from the Tao, no one has the right to judge the authenticity of another's F-coins, nor does anyone have the interest to do so. We understand that a nation's currency supply must match its wealth, including resources, productivity, technological advancements, and more. If the money supply exceeds the nation's overall wealth, inflation occurs, causing the currency to lose value. Similarly, the number of F-coins one possesses must correspond to their selfless dedication and contributions. This dedication and contribution must be made without expecting anything in return. Calculating F-coins accurately and honestly is a serious test of one's character. In human society, false information and deception are rampant. In many cases, those who fabricate data and manipulate information actually reap countless benefits. Many wealthy individuals and high-ranking officials have attained their positions through dishonesty. The prevalence of deception in this complex social environment deeply influences public consciousness, shaping people's thoughts, behaviors, and speech. As a result, dishonesty has become the norm. Consequently, when calculating their own F-coins, people might be tempted to exaggerate or deceive. The moment one does this, they become a fraud, a worldly person, and a demon on the path of self-cultivation. Thus, the less visible one's actions are to others, the more cautious and meticulous one must be, for the eyes of the divine see all. If there is any falsehood in one's F-coins, it amounts to self-destruction. This is why I say, it is better to underreport than to overreport. Do not first concern yourself with whether F-coins hold practical value or function. Instead, focus on whether you can pass the test of calculating your F-coins with integrity. This is a way to verify whether you are an honest life. We know that the formless determines the form. Consciousness is formless, yet it dictates one's thoughts, words, and actions. The wealth of heaven is formless, yet it determines the ultimate destination of a life. We also know that the sum of positive and negative energy in the universe is zero, and that giving and contributing must ultimately balance with receiving and enjoying. The more F coins one has, the more they have given and contributed while receiving less in return. In this way, the balance of positive and negative energy cannot be maintained at zero. Therefore, the program of the Tao must arrange for those with abundant F coins to enter heaven, ensuring compliance with the law of equilibrium. Thus, earning F coins becomes the most critical task of life. The Tao is the most impartial force in both heaven and earth. This impartiality is reflected in individuals. Those who give and contribute more deserve better living conditions, environments, and benefits. Those who have the ability to contribute but refuse to do so deserve to starve. This is the ultimate manifestation of the Tao's fairness. Xiefeng-style communism is absolutely not about equalizing benefits between those who contribute much and those who contribute little. That would be neither fair nor just, but rather an act of allowing the cunning and deceitful to exploit the honest and sincere. Therefore, F coins serve as the fairest and most reasonable standard for determining whether a Chanyuan celestial can enter the home and which home they can enter in the future. The birth of F coins is a revelation from God Jesus. When the world enters the era of the Great Unity, all other currencies will disappear, and F coins will become the universal currency of both heaven and earth. Preface to the Celestial Cultivation Chapter. Xiefeng. August 26, 2005, Harare. Gems are classified based on their hardness, refractive index, specific gravity, color, transparency, purity, polish, and crystal structure. Diamonds are the finest of gems, while rubies, sapphires, cat's eyes, topazes, spinels, aquamarines, zircons, emeralds, and beryls are also considered high-grade gems. Tourmalines, crystals, garnets, peridots, jades, andalusite, nephrite, opals, moonstones, sunstones, turquoise, and others are mid-grade gems. Jadeite, pearls, malachite, coral, amber, and similar materials are lower-grade gems, while granite and ordinary stones are the lowest grade. People, based on their non-material structure, root capacity, spirituality, upbringing, knowledge, wisdom, and level of civilization, can be classified into 5 categories: the ignorant, the worldly, the ordinary, the virtuous, and the celestial beings. Celestial beings are further divided, according to their level of enlightenment, into human celestials, ghost celestials, land celestials, deity celestials, and super celestial beings. Human celestials, equivalent to saints, are further classified by their wisdom into perfected beings, true beings, celestial beings, divine beings, and heavenly beings. Some say that all humans are the same. They all have facial features, hair, 7 orifices, 5 organs, 6 viscera, arms, legs, and the 7 emotions and 6 desires. Indeed, on the surface everyone appears similar. However, once you look beyond appearances and examine the essence, the differences between people become vast. Some dare to bungee jump, while others do not. Guan Yu could calmly chat and laugh while having his bones scraped to treat poison, yet others grimace and grit their teeth even during a simple injection. There's a saying, if you see a woman traveling alone, she must be American; if you see a woman sitting on the ground crying, she must be Chinese. Although this statement is somewhat exaggerated, it highlights the differences between people. Otherwise, how would we know that Jesus is a God and Buddha is a Buddha? Just like oil, a gasoline engine can only use gasoline and a diesel engine can only use diesel. Using kerosene in an airplane won't work, and using lubricating oil as cooking oil is equally impossible. Hydraulic oil cannot replace safflower oil, butter cannot substitute for ghee, animal fat cannot replace light oil, and tung oil cannot replace pine resin oil. We must recognize that people, like gemstones and oils, exhibit hierarchical differences. The highest limit a human can reach is that of a super-celestial being. Becoming a Buddha is easier, but becoming a super-celestial being is far more difficult. The headquarters of super-celestial beings is in the Celestial Islands continent of the Elysium world. On Snow Peak Island within the Celestial Islands continent, Yui is a super-celestial being who can instantly become invisible and possesses infinite transformative powers. With a single gesture or thought, she can create endless phenomena. As Jesus said, faith as small as a mustard seed can move mountains. What seems impossible with conventional thinking is effortless with unconventional thinking. When an ordinary person, distraught over a $1,000 tuition fee for their child, resorts to hanging, someone else treats $1,000 as if it were waste paper. While some study their entire lives and become stubborn pedants, the illiterate sixth patriarch Huineng mastered the profound doctrines of Buddhism. Scholars can only teach, they cannot rule mountains or command armies. Some people might live 5,000 years without winning a Nobel Prize, while child prodigies become renowned by their 20s. We must admit that people differ in grade. Those who acknowledge differences among people can progress continuously, those who do not remain spiritually blind, leading a mediocre life without clear goals or direction. To many, cultivating immortality in becoming a celestial being is nothing more than a daydream or nonsense, because they rely solely on vision, hearing, smell, taste, and touch, lacking spiritual perception. Without spiritual perception, one recognizes only objective reality and scientific evidence, and cannot imagine vast worlds beyond three-dimensional space or the possibility of superluminal travel through space and time tunnels. Quantum mechanics has only vaguely acknowledged that the movement of subatomic particles is related to the observer's position and consciousness. Water crystallization experiments by Japanese scientists have demonstrated the profound link between human consciousness and the formation of water molecule crystals. Those who master these secrets can achieve in a minute what ordinary people might not accomplish in 10,000 years. The form of existence is shaped by one's way of thinking. Once this is understood, a qualitative leap occurs in one's structure of life. Almost everything the human mind can imagine exists, though not necessarily in this time and space. Science fiction may describe these actual existences, some will become realities in the future, while others are verified in other spaces. We cannot deny what we cannot see or hear. Can we deny the existence and motion of ultraviolet rays, infrared rays, cathode rays, and radio waves simply because they are invisible? The Celestial Cultivation chapter reveals profound insights into life through simple truths, guiding individuals step by step toward higher realms of existence. By unveiling the meaning of death, it clearly describes the scenarios that follow and illuminates how every word and action in our current three-dimensional space shapes the future. It demonstrates that Chanyuan is not a place of baseless claims or delusions but rather the crystallization of human wisdom and a treasure trove of life. For those aspiring to become celestials, may you quickly awaken your spiritual perception, follow the guide toward the highest realm of life, and not waste precious time in mundane society. Every moment is invaluable, so strive earnestly. Celestial Cultivation Chapter, Article 1, The Difference Between Super-Celestial Beings and Buddhas. Xiefeng. May 5, 2006. Super-celestial beings and Buddhas are both evolved forms of angels, creations of the greatest creator, and represent the highest state that humans can attain through cultivation. Both super-celestial beings and Buddhas reside in the Elysium world and possess supernatural abilities as well as transformational powers. Super-celestial beings, they have never lost their way. Buddhas, they have, at one time, lost their way. Super-celestial beings, they possess only one rank. Buddhas, they have 10 ranks. Super-celestial beings, they belong to a category of Buddhas who are not constrained by divine power. Buddhas, not all Buddhas are super-celestial beings. Super-celestial beings, they have only one base, the Celestial Islands continent in the Elysium world. Buddhas, they have 10 bases, namely Lotus Continent, Borneo Continent, Kasayapa continent, Ingwu continent, Amitabha continent, Celestial Islands continent, Three Realms Transit continent, Moon Temple continent, God's continent, and Supreme Enlightenment continent. Super celestial beings, they are completely free and unrestrained. Buddhas, they are bound by divine laws and must strictly adhere to precepts. Super celestial beings, they can freely transform into human forms. Buddhas, they can transform into human forms only if dispatched by the heavenly realm, otherwise, such a transformation would violate heavenly laws. Super celestial beings, they are Buddhas, yet they do not necessarily have to worship other Buddhas. Buddhas, not every Buddha becomes a super celestial being. Super celestial beings, they are the most beloved beings of the greatest Creator. Buddhas, they are subject to strict control by the greatest Creator. Super celestial beings, they can emerge from among Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, and ordinary people alike. Buddhas, only the descendants of the dragon have the potential to become Buddhas. Here, descendants of the dragon refers not only to the Chinese but to all Eastern peoples, excluding the descendants of Adam and Eve. Super celestial beings are Buddhas, but not all Buddhas are super celestial beings. They form a special category within the Buddha realm, however, they do not attain the supreme wisdom and capabilities inherent in the highest Buddha nature. Super celestial beings are merely angels, subject to the commands of the gods, whereas Buddhas, at their highest level, can almost rival the gods. Attaining Buddhahood is exceedingly difficult. My advice to Easterners is to first strive toward the 1,000-year world rather than expect to ascend directly to the highest realm in a single leap. Becoming a super celestial being is no easy feat either. Ordinary people should follow the path of the sages and then progress toward the 1,000-year world. For the members of Life Achanuan, since they have a guide, they should devote themselves wholeheartedly to the pursuit of becoming super celestial beings. Opportunities like this are rare. Once missed, the chance to become a super celestial being may be lost forever. The difference between super celestial beings and Buddhas, Part 2. Xiefeng. A celestial being is one who dwells in the mountains. A Buddha is one who transcends human limitations. Celestial beings are detached from worldly affairs, roaming freely in nature, while Buddhas pursue supreme enlightenment under strict divine laws. Celestial beings are divided into 5 ranks. Super celestial beings reside in the Celestial Islands continent. Deity celestial beings have no fixed abode. Land celestial beings reside in the 10,000-year world. Human celestial beings reside in the 1,000-year world. Ghost celestial beings reside in the space between the yin and yang spaces. Buddhas have 10 levels, each residing in a different continent: Lotus continent, Borneo continent, Kasayapa continent, Ingwu continent, Amitabha continent, Celestial Islands continent, Three Realms Transit continent, Moon Temple continent, God's continent, and Supreme Enlightenment continent. All super celestial beings are Buddhas, for the super celestial beings of the Celestial Islands continent have attained Buddhahood. However, Buddhas are not necessarily super celestial beings. Buddhas never cease their pursuit of supreme enlightenment. Buddhas embody solemnity, while celestial beings embody fluidity and spontaneity. It is easy to become a celestial being by worshipping Buddhas, yet practicing as a celestial being makes it difficult to attain Buddhahood. To become a celestial being, one must first worship Buddhas. Within the Buddha realm, the status of super celestial beings is intermediate, comparable to university graduates. Above them are those akin to graduate students, master's students, and doctoral students. Super celestial beings, like university graduates, cease further studies, whereas Buddhas never abandon their pursuit of higher learning. Super celestial beings focus on self-amusement and do not concern themselves with the affairs of heaven or humanity. Buddhas, on the other hand, seek neither entertainment nor temporary ease but devote themselves to attaining supreme enlightenment. Super celestial beings are the freest, happiest, and most blissful beings in the entire universe. They are the greatest creator's favorites, bearing no responsibilities or obligations. Buddhas, by contrast, are the wisest beings in the universe, strict in self-discipline and willing to take on responsibilities and obligations when necessary. Super-celestial beings possess all supernatural abilities, but they use them primarily for personal amusement. Buddhas, as they ascend in their enlightenment, develop varying levels of supernatural abilities, which they use to fulfill responsibilities and obligations. The path to becoming a celestial being differs somewhat from the path to Buddhahood. There are no restrictions in becoming a celestial being, while the path to Buddhahood is heavily regulated by strict precepts. Becoming a super-celestial being is easy, becoming a Buddha is difficult. Chapter of Celestial Cultivation, Article 2, The Classification and Realms of Celestials. Xiefeng. 2005 August 26, Harare. Just as humans have different levels of character and virtue, celestials also have different grades. Similarly, among plants, some blossom and bear fruit while others do not, some produce sweet fruit, while others bear sour ones, some have deep roots and lush foliage, while others have shallow roots and sparse leaves, some grow tall, while others remain short, some bloom with fragrant flowers, while others produce scentless blossoms. Humans can perceive the diversity of plants, just as gods can see the myriad states of human beings. Only by standing atop the highest peak can one overlook the majestic mountains, only by reaching the highest realm can one observe the boundless variety of human existence, only by traversing the 36-dimensional spaces can one comprehend the classifications and realms of celestials. Failing to perceive differences does not mean that differences do not exist, it simply indicates that one's level of awareness is too low. A person sitting at the bottom of a well cannot see the vast blue sky. This is not because the sky lacks vastness, but because their vision is limited. Denying the wonders of the universe and the infinite levels of life based on one's constrained perspective is ignorance. Trying to define the boundless dimensions of time and space and the infinite wisdom of the cosmos through one's own ignorance is foolishness. 99% of humanity lives in ignorance and foolishness. 95% of people have closed hearts and remain unconscious in their awareness. That is why Jesus said that few people find the gate to true life, and even fewer manage to enter it. The broad road is the worldly path, the path that the masses walk leads to death. Only those who squeeze through the narrow gate and endure the arduous journey along a rugged trail may glimpse the dawn of life. In the end, they will ascend the perilous peak of life and enter an even vaster realm of existence. Celestial beings are classified into 5 types: ghost celestials, human celestials, land celestials, deity celestials, and super celestials. The Chinese nation is unique, producing countless saints, sages, and great hermits beyond the reach of Western Nobel laureates. The ability to perceive meridians and acupoints with clarity, the mastery of refining essence into energy, refining energy into spirit, and refining spirit into emptiness, as well as the profound insight into the unity of heaven and man, beyond the comprehension of spirits and ghosts, are beyond the imagination of ordinary people. The classification of celestials has long been well understood by sages of the past. In my exploration of the origins of the universe, I found that my predecessors had already reached the peak of understanding. When I traversed the 36 celestial spaces and observed the forms and qualities of life across various spaces, I realized that ancient saints had already drawn definitive conclusions. For instance, regarding the classification of celestials, one great hermit once said, "Those who are purely spiritual and formless are ghost celestials. Those who live long lives without illness in the mortal world are human celestials. Those who can fly through the mist, remain free from hunger and thirst, unaffected by heat and cold, and roam the islands while attaining eternal life are land celestials. Those who can change form, appear and disappear unpredictably, take on various ages, and possess divine wisdom beyond the comprehension of ghosts, spirits, and even diviners are super celestials. Those who refine primordial energy into the primordial spirit, attain supernatural powers, and become immune to water and fire are deity celestials. The words of the saints hold true. In more detail, the types of celestials and their corresponding realms are as follows. Ghost celestials. Ghost celestials exist between the yin and yang spaces, beyond the range of human vision. Thus, they are considered formless. However, from their own perspective, they do not perceive themselves as formless. This is similar to what has been observed in near-death experiences studied by Western scientists. When people temporarily die, meaning their souls leave their bodies, they can clearly see their own physical forms surrounded by doctors and loved ones. They even feel that their facial features, bodies, and hair remain intact. Thus, the formlessness of ghost celestials is only relative to human vision, not an actual loss of form. In the 36-dimensional spaces, within the 5-dimensional space between yin and yang, I once described. The third type of people are those who often dwell in obsessive thoughts or die unexpectedly in the prime of life. Because they are unprepared and still deeply attached to the material world, they resist moving on. Their wishes remain unfulfilled, and they are unwilling to leave. However, their physical bodies have already perished, and without a material vessel, their spiritual bodies wander aimlessly between the yin and yang spaces. Some cases of spirit possession are caused by these lingering souls. Those who die with unresolved grievances are also prone to lingering in this space. Ghost celestials are essentially what people commonly refer to as ghosts. Benevolent ghosts can be considered ghost celestials. Even harmful ghosts have specific reasons for their actions. There is always a cause and effect relationship. As long as one maintains a clear conscience, ghosts will never harm them. As the saying goes, if you have done nothing wrong, you have nothing to fear from ghosts knocking at your door. Ghost celestials do not linger indefinitely in the yin-yang space. Some quickly recover and return to their bodies, while others swiftly reincarnate. That is why it is important to treat the deceased with kindness. Offering comfort, burning paper money, and speaking words of reassurance can help them move on more quickly. Human celestials. Human celestials are saints in the mortal world. They understand the principles of existence, are free from worldly desires, practice non-action, Wu Wei, transcend conventional norms, and maintain physical and mental well-being. They do not possess supernatural abilities but have seen through the illusions of the mortal world. They are detached from concepts such as nations, ethnicities, families, political parties, and religions. They take things as they are, acting in accordance with their intrinsic nature, and seize opportunities as they arise. Human celestials do not participate in any religious or political organizations, as they do not wish to be bound, nor do they seek to bind others. They enjoy the company of kindred spirits but avoid interactions with worldly people. Wealth, status, and fame mean nothing to them, nor do they concern themselves with success or failure, gain or loss. To them, all these things are fleeting clouds. Land celestials. Land celestials possess supernatural abilities or profound mastery of Taoist arts. They can benefit both humanity and themselves. They communicate seamlessly with both humans and spirits, moving freely without restrictions. Figures such as Hua Tuo, Sun Simiao, Bien Ke, and Taoist masters with profound spiritual attainments are land celestials. Land celestials excel in the art of health preservation. Many teachings in the Life Achanuan Health Preservation chapter originate from the wisdom of land celestials. Their insights include principles from the Compendium of Heart and Mind Healing, such as all things are exhausted by movement and nourished by stillness. Stillness is the dwelling place of the spirit. Without tranquility, one cannot reach distant goals. Stillness breeds wisdom, movement breeds confusion. It is the spirit that gives me life, it is the mind that brings me death. When still, the roots deepen and flourish, when in motion, the stem is uprooted and withers. The 8 steps of cultivating stillness are: do not give rise to anger, do not give rise to arrogance, do not indulge in absurdity, be moderate in desires, moderate in labor, be cautious in speech, abstain from killing, and benefit others. Including the 8 mind methods in my intermediate cultivation. Calm the mind, stop the mind, govern the mind, correct the mind, humble the mind, settle the mind, purify the mind, and transcend the mind. These are the defining characteristics of land celestials. They have cultivated themselves to the point where they no longer experience hunger or thirst, remain unaffected by heat and cold, travel freely among islands, and attain mastery over life and death. Deity Celestials. Deity Celestials do not belong to human society. They can traverse space-time tunnels at will, moving freely between heaven, the human world, and the underworld. They possess divine abilities and can undergo limitless transformations. Sun Wukong from the mythological novel Journey to the West, before attaining true enlightenment, is a living example of a deity celestial. He had 72 transformations, could ride clouds and mist, and a single somersault spanned 54,000 kilometers. Deity celestials have no fixed abode, both heaven and earth are their home. They can shrink to the size of a subatomic particle or expand as vast as a mountain. They can enter the molecular world to tour mountains and rivers, or kick celestial bodies as if they were mere balls. To understand the realm of deity celestials, one can refer to the stories in Journey to the West and the Investiture of the Gods. Perhaps you think these are mere myths, but in reality, they are not. As long as one masters the key to cultivation, this state can be attained. The biggest challenge is that no historical human records contain the secret to cultivating into a deity celestial. Such secrets will never be written down, they can only be grasped through innate wisdom and deep enlightenment. Super Celestials. Super Celestials represent the highest realm that humans can attain. Their base is on the Celestial Islands continent of the Elysium world. In my description of the Celestial Islands continent, UE, the master of Snow Peak Island, serves as an example of a super celestial. The revered Guanyin Bodhisattva is also a super celestial, as are angels in Western culture. A super celestial is essentially a Buddha, but with a key difference: while Buddhas still bear certain constraints, super celestials are entirely free. Buddhas have duties and responsibilities, whereas super celestials have none whatsoever. The defining characteristic of a super celestial is the absolute freedom to indulge in joy and play as they please. Once one becomes a Buddha, there are still higher realms to ascend to, but once one attains the state of a super celestial, they have reached the ultimate limit of life. These concepts are far beyond the scope of human wisdom. The more I explain, the more elusive and incomprehensible they may seem, eventually turning into what some might consider incoherent rambling. The higher the level of wisdom and consciousness a being possesses, the more mythical it appears. Human celestials and land celestials are closely related to humans, making them relatively easier to comprehend. The realm of deity celestials is still within the bounds of imagination, but the realm of super celestials is purely mythical. All of these mysteries are embedded within the profound secrets of life itself. The 36 8-trigram arrays set by the greatest creator are incredibly difficult to break or decipher, primarily because they lie beyond our imagination. Since we cannot conceive of them,